Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines.
A man has been arrested on suspicion of the murder of Lisa Dorian, 20 years after the Bangor woman went missing.
Airbus completes its takeover of part of Spirit Aerosystems, rescuing more than 1,500 jobs in Belfast.
Stormont government need to be behind what the union's demands are and to ensure the future of aerospace in Northern Ireland.
It's taken 8 years and cost £40 million, but will the final report into the army agent known as Steak Knife shed more light on his actions?
Also tonight.
Insiders now Oran Kearney is aiming to resurrect the fortunes of arch rivals Ballymena.
And we have a big change on the way tomorrow with the arrival of Storm Bram. I'll have all of the details later with the forecast.
Lisa Dorian went missing from a caravan site in Ballyhalbert in February 2005. And despite many appeals and searches over the years, her body has never been found.
Now, 20 years on, police have arrested a 68-year-old man on suspicion of the Bangor woman's murder. Sarah O'Kane reports.
This is Lisa Dorian, just 48 hours before she vanished. Some of her final steps captured on CCTV. It's now been 20 years since Lisa disappeared. The 25-year-old from Bangor was at a party on the 27th of February 2005 at Ballyhalbert Caravan Park. She was never seen again. Police believe Lisa was murdered and secretly buried. In a development today, detectives from the major investigation team still looking into her murder made an arrest. Police say a 68-year-old man is being held on suspicion of murder, assisting offenders, withholding information and preventing a lawful and decent burial. Tonight, he remains in police custody. Despite extensive searches in multiple locations over the decades, detectives have never been able to recover her body. Her family, though, have never given up hope that one day they will bring her home. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live.
The sale of Spirit Aerosystems has been finalised, with the operations in Belfast being split up between rival manufacturers Boeing and Airbus, ending years of uncertainty for employees based at the manufacturing site.
The deal will see the A220 production line transfer to Airbus and the rest of the production facility run as an independent Boeing company, which will see the return of the Short brothers' name. Here's our economics correspondent, Jordan Moats.
There have been many different names above the door here, and just over 5 years after the last change, the Spirit Aerosystems name is set to be replaced. In January 2024, discussions began around a takeover of the company, and just a few weeks short of 2 years later, that acquisition is now complete. Despite opposition from unions, as part of the deal, the operations in Belfast will be broken up between Boeing and Airbus.
Well, it's not what the unions wanted, but ultimately it's a resolution to a long-standing issue. What it means for the workers, we'll have to see. There's been a split now, so you have two blue chip companies there. Both will work independently, and we will be engaging with both companies to ensure that there's no problems for our members and see what their long-term plans are.
The production of the A220 wings and fuselage are what prevented the site from being sold as a single operation. Those products are manufactured for Airbus. As part of this deal, they'll take over production with 1,600 staff being transferred. Boeing will then assume responsibility for all other operations in Belfast, along with more than 2,000 other employees. The familiar Short brothers name will return as that part of the company becomes an independent Boeing operation.
But what we need to see from both Boeing and Airbus is now commitments on jobs, commitments on investment and commitments to future aerospace in Northern Ireland, and that's what we'll be doing in the coming days and the coming weeks. We will be engaging with both companies to ensure that happens. Stormont government need to be behind what the union's demands are and to ensure the future of aerospace in Northern Ireland.
In a statement, Boeing said, "We welcome the Short brothers family to Boeing and look forward to leveraging the team's outstanding aerospace capabilities. The site's rich history and legacy is a strong addition to our operations in Northern Ireland." Meanwhile, Airbus have said, "Our goal is to provide a best-in-class environment for our operations, investing in the facilities, people and systems to make Belfast our centre of excellence." The takeover has also been welcomed politically at Stormont and Westminster. There may well be a sense of certainty about the way forward now, but given the history of repeated uncertainty here, the question could be, for how long? Jordan Motes, UTV Live.
The final report into the activities of the Army agent codenamed Steak Knife, who's widely believed to be Republican Freddie Scappaticci, will be published tomorrow. Operation Canova has not been allowed to identify the informant, who infiltrated the heart of the IRA for well over a decade and who was protected by the state even in death. Well, our crime and security correspondent Sharon O'Neill joins me now. Sharon, is there any surprise that the government didn't lift its policy on naming agents for this report?
In the end, Rose, no, but the current head of Canova, Sir Ian Livingstone, and his predecessor, PSNI Chief Constable John Boucher, had been lobbying hard with the government to get this ban lifted, because from the get-go back in 2016, when this was first set up, it was a priority to name Steak Knife, and the families of those killed by that double agent wanted him named as well. And this is a blow, undoubtedly, for the investigation that he is not named. That said, in the end, it is no surprise, and it is widely believed now and accepted that Freddie Scappaticci, the Republican who was at the heart of the IRA, who ran, in the end, the internal security unit, that ruthless unit, who was behind 14 murders and 15 abductions, Canova says, was that agent.
So do you think there'll be anything new in the report tomorrow?
Well, I understand tomorrow we are going to get more of the colour, if you like, behind Steak Knife, how he was recruited into the Army Secret Force Research Unit, how he was wrapped in cotton wool, if you like, how he was handled, how he was protected, how he was paid very well for giving up the IRA secrets, and how he was protected in death, one of very few people.
Sharon, thank you very much.
The Deputy First Minister has dismissed any suggestion that it is panto season at Stormont because of funding pressures. Emma Little-Pengelly was speaking as the Executive Ministers are due to meet tomorrow to redistribute funds in what's known as the monitoring round. Well, we can join our political editor Tracy McGee live at Stormont for us this evening. Tracy, what was said today in the Assembly then?
Well, Paul, seasonal references during questions to the Executive Office from the Leader of the Opposition, Matthew O'Toole. He said that Stormont is now in panto season. Now, the backdrop to this is the fact that tomorrow, as you say, ministers are meeting to carry out an in-year monitoring where they effectively reshuffle the money in the departments. But it has since come to light that behind the scenes a war of words has broken out between the Finance Minister, John O'Dowd, and the Education Minister, Paul Given. There has been a series of letters between the two ministers. Paul Given had made it clear to Mr O'Dowd that he was in line to overspend his budget by some £288 million, the vast majority of that because of pay pressures. A letter was then sent back from the Finance Department saying that it was Mr Given's responsibility to stay within his budget. Now, there was another letter then sent by Mr Given to Mr O'Dowd in which he said that it is impossible for him to stay within his budget, and that also that he is not being back to make the controversial decisions that would be required to do so. Something he then says could be seen as hypocrisy dressed up as principle. So you can see the war of words that's been going on between these two ministers. Now, today Matthew O'Toole said to Emma Little-Pengelly that the two ministers, Finance and Education, were in a will they, won't they conversation. This is what he said to her.
Budget dysfunction has been going on, frankly, nearly as long as May McFetridge at the Grand Opera House. The difference is that May is entertaining and unlike this place, she provides value for money. Deputy First Minister, can you guarantee that there will be a multi-year budget and that your party will not block one?
This is a serious matter, and we will be dealing with it in a serious way. The exchange of letters between the Finance Minister and the Education Minister outlined very starkly the challenges that we face within our core public services. Health and education in particular have made clear throughout this year the pressure that they are under. This is not new.
So what do we expect to come out of tomorrow's meeting?
Well, it's not good news, Paul. As I say, Paul Given was looking at £288 million overspending. Paul's only getting a fraction of that. By the end of tomorrow, he could still be £250 million in the red. Health also knew that they were going to be overspent by £100 million. I believe that's going to be significantly higher. In total, between those two departments, you're looking at a £400 million overspend. And as we know, the Treasury has made it clear, if you overspend this year, they'll take it off the allocation next year.
Tracy McGee live at Stormont, thank you. And coming up on View from Stormont later, we'll be examining further where the money will come from to fix the current state of our public services. Plus, ahead of that final Canova report into steak knife, we will have more analysis from our crime and security correspondent Sharon O'Neill. So join Vicky Hawthorne for the programme at 10:45 tonight here on UTV.
A warning has been issued about the dangers of some highly addictive over-the-counter painkillers, which can result in severe illness and even death if abused.
According to one senior addictions psychiatrist, some patients are taking up to 100 of these pills a day. Our health correspondent Deborah McAleese has this report.
Michael has been in recovery for 4 months for an addiction he didn't see coming. For him, it started with migraines and a leg injury and led to 12 years of dependence on over-the-counter painkillers that almost cost him his life.
Basically, over the years, it just started becoming more of a problem, so that I started taking more as the years went on. Eventually up to 2 boxes a day, which is 64 tablets a day.
Michael was taking a combination of codeine and ibuprofen, unaware of the dangers.
I don't think the public would really be aware of the real toxic nature of this in high quantities. If you think about it, ibuprofen can cause tummy upset, but when you take maybe 100 tablets a day, it causes severe gastric disease. It can cause severe kidney disease. And Michael was, almost died with this condition.
Dr. Watson said that some patients are taking up to 100 pills a day and are travelling from pharmacy to buy them. With reliance on over-the-counter painkillers increasing, the Department of Health has issued advice to pharmacists about trying to detect and prevent abuse.
On the information we've been given, it would seem to be a growing problem in Northern Ireland, and that's why we are working with colleagues in the Department of Health, Public Health Agency and with the addiction teams to try and raise awareness, firstly, of it being a problem, and also looking at ways in which we can support patients.
During his addiction, Michael needed surgery for a perforated ulcer. His weight dropped to 4 stone and he needed multiple blood transfusions. His addiction also led to the breakup of his relationship, and for a while he lost contact with his children. But after seeking support, he was placed on a substitute medication and is now feeling hopeful about the future.
I'm a completely different person now. It's just completely changed my life. To be honest, the way she had it, took it a long time ago. But then I wasn't aware of it at the time as well. Halfway as I'm great, putting on weight, back to work, spending a lot more time on my kids, so everything's positive.
Michael now hopes that by sharing his story, it will stop others slipping into the same hidden danger. Deborah McAleese, UTV Live.
The Education Authority says it's prioritising remedial works to reopen Nazareth House Primary School in Londonderry as soon as possible. It'll have to close until after Christmas because of safety concerns over the school's roof. Work is underway to facilitate arrangements for supervised learning for families who need it.
The former First Minister Peter Robinson has given evidence in the trial of a man accused of fraud relating to the NAMA loan book. Frank Cushnahan, who's 83 and from Alexandra Gate in Hollywood, denies the charge. Mr Robinson confirmed that he had attended a meeting relating to the loan book and NAMA at Stormont in May 2013, along with Mr Cushnahan, representatives from the US investment fund PIMCO and the then Finance Minister Sammy Wilson. He said it was an opportunity to tell potential investors how wonderful Northern Ireland was. The Ladies with Letters campaigners have met with the Health Minister Mike Nesbitt in further attempts to uncover the full truth behind the cervical screening scandal in Northern Ireland.
Failings in the procedure led to a review of 17,500 smear tests in the Southern Trust. Campaigners want nothing less than a full statutory public inquiry. Barbara McCann reports.
It was a case of revolving doors for the campaigners at Stormont this morning. Ladies with Letters have been here before to see the Health Minister, but their further demand for a powerful investigation to uncover the full truth behind the cervical screening scandal, in other words, a statutory public inquiry, hasn't yet been met. It hasn't been ruled in or out.
We got to set out very clearly why we feel a statutory public inquiry is the only way forward, and now, for example, all the reports are depending on information that has been provided by those same bodies that are under scrutiny. Now, the Minister hasn't promised a statutory public inquiry, but nor has he ruled one out.
MLAs have supported the call for the inquiry, believing it's essential for public confidence and systemic change. The Health Minister has already said that he is committed to a women's health strategy. Lindsay Courtney was one of 2 women who lost their lives due to misread smear tests. Her 19-year-old son, who joined the campaigners today, has only one wish for Christmas.
So the best Christmas present this year is for the both of us would be for the Health Minister, Mr Nesbitt, to grant a statutory public inquiry so that her fight, her legacy and the lessons Mum taught me in her short life are honoured.
Barbara McCann, UTV Live, Stormont.
Well, in a statement this evening, the Health Minister said he had asked Professor Sir Frank Atherton, the former Chief Medical Officer in Wales, to review and assess what has happened and why, and to report back to him.
Time now to look at tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the ITV Evening News, President Zelensky and top European leaders gather in Downing Street to discuss the latest Ukraine peace plan. Storm Bram is set to batter Britain, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. And the Queen meets the stars of the hit show Rivals and the family of the late Jilly Cooper, who inspired the series. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
It's time for sport now.
And Will has all the action.
The game is heating up. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening. Ballymena United have appointed Oran Kearney as their new manager. The 47-year-old places Jim Irvine, who was sacked after managing just 1 win in 7 league games. He's back in the hot seat. Owen Kearney is the man Ballymena United have tasked with turning around the club's fortunes. He's been out of football since May, when he left his role of sporting director at Coleraine and returned to the club, at which he made 121 appearances for as a player, scoring 34 goals.
There's a lot of different things that have sort of come back, and a lot of different emotions have come back from probably at my time of playing here. And I think particularly you get a real sense of, I suppose, like a lot of clubs, where there was a real urgency to want to do well and a real desire for success. And we all know, in the league, there are certain teams that are probably quite dominant and that have been very dominant over the past decade. And it can be hard to break into that. But with that, it's a challenge, and it's one ideally that I think this club has the infrastructure, it has the fan base, it has a lot of good things going for it, which gives it an opportunity to do that.
He takes over a side that lost 2-1 at home to Dungannon on Saturday, and Kearney knows it'll be tough to make changes ahead of a trip to Portadown on Saturday.
It's just a crash course where we'll have a short meeting probably on Tuesday night to say hello to the players and ideally lay down a few ideas and everything that we expect. But very much I think it's the training ground and it's the training pitch where the hard work needs to be done. So I want to see a reaction of a new manager through the door, and I want to see a spring in everybody's step, and that's vitally important. For me, the big onus is on the players. I want to see it, a definitive change in them. I want to see them out to impress not only myself but the fans as well. And I want to, see who wants to play in this team and who wants to be a part of it every Saturday.
Well, Kearney's old side Coleraine moved to the top of the Irish Premiership on goal difference at the weekend. They beat Carrick 3-1 at the Showgrounds on Saturday to take advantage of Larne dropping points in a 0-0 draw with Linfield on Friday. Glentoran came from 2-0 down to salvage a 2-2 draw with Cliftonville. Ulster started their European campaign in style with a 61-7 thrashing of Racing 92 in the Challenge Cup. Richie Murphy's team shut out the French side in the second period, during which they ran in 7 tries at the Affidea Stadium.
Bit disappointed with the first half. We were slow and we were just off the pace, so that's something that we need to address on Monday. But 61 points, some really good rugby in the second half, and we just got to move on now. We go to Cardiff next week. It's going to be a really tough game over there. They've had a really good start to the season as well, so there'll be a bit of rotation in our squad. We'll get some fresh bodies out there and keep building.
Well, Rory McIlroy finished the Australian Open in a tie for 14th place. He birdied his final 2 holes to card a 2-under par final round, which left him on 7 under for the tournament, 8 shots behind the winner, Rasmus Nergaard Peterson. Charlie Smith helped his New Orleans Saints side to a shock win at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL last night. He kicked 3 extra points and a field goal as the Saints beat their divisional rivals by 24 points to 20 in Florida. That's all your sport this evening. Have a great week.
The game is heating up. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Now, Glentoran has marked the start of the festive season with a unique performance of Santa Claus is Coming to Town using Macaton.
Macaton is used widely across schools and care services, and it provides a flexible way for people with communication difficulties to connect with other people. Daniel Duffy reports.
Glentoran are used to doing their talking on the pitch, but on this occasion they're doing it with their hands. Used by those who have communication difficulties, and it's made up using signs, speech and symbols. Over 1 million people in the UK use it, and it is used by adults and children.
Imagine going somewhere and no one understood you. It's impossible. We're actually, by knowing Macaton and using Macaton, children are being able to be heard, understood, adults are being able to be heard and understood. And I think time and time again we say that we need to be people's voices, but actually I believe we need to be people's microphone and champion that voice. And by using Macaton, that is giving them their voice, and it's the world around us that needs to understand that. The child or the adult is communicating with us and we need to be listening to them, whether that is through a sign, through a symbol or through speech.
Obviously the community work that the club do is massive, and it's a massive part of what we have to do as players as well, and the staff and the volunteers of the club, and it's just another good thing, with the Macathon coming in, and Claire that comes in who's been great with us. She's been in a few times over the Christmas, over the years, and so to get us involved is a bit of fun, and hopefully if it helps other people out there in the community, it's only a benefit.
Brilliant. And who was the best, Daniel?
There's quite a few good boys doing it. I done it with Marcus Kane, the captain, and he was really good. He was up for it, and me and him flew through our part. But it was good to do the song. We got into pairs, and everyone got a go at it. So it was good to learn something new.
Well, obviously I don't know any Macaton, so can you teach me something from the song?
Oh, Santa Claus coming to town?
Yeah, we remember Santa Claus. That's about it.
That's good enough for me, shall we?
Yeah, we'll give you that. Yeah.
Santa Claus coming to town.
The weather's next, and you're probably well aware that there's a storm on the way.
There's a warning in place too. Louise, tell us more.
Yes, we have a yellow warning for strong winds tomorrow. Comes into force at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, estimates right through until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Storm Bram has been named by Met Éireann after Bram Stoker, who famously wrote Dracula. We can expect some very strong winds inland, 50 to 60 miles per hour widely, with the possibility of 70 or 80 miles per hour across the northwest. We do have plenty of rain moving through tonight, some very heavy downpours. We could have some surface water on the roads.
Tomorrow, the Christmas market in Belfast City Centre has opted to close. It should reopen by Wednesday. The winds will slowly ease down tomorrow night, but we could have some disruption with the strength of the winds for travel, etc. So something to keep an eye on, stay up to date over the next few hours at least. Here's the forecast.
Whatever the weather, there's a warm outlook. UTV Weather. Sponsored by the Grant Aerona R290 heat pump.
So we have a rather unsettled day on the way tomorrow with the arrival of Storm Bram. Those winds really ramping up through the morning tomorrow. 50 to 60 miles per hour inland with the possibility of 70 or 80 miles per hour across the northwest. Along with that, we will have quite a damp start tomorrow morning. Storm Bram slowly pushing in from the Atlantic. We have a number of isobars on the charts indicating those brisk, blustery winds. The heaviest rain falling overnight tonight. It should clear through during the morning tomorrow, but it is a rather unsettled day. Dry to start this evening, clouding over very quickly, followed very closely behind by a band of persistent rain. Some heavy downpours pushing up during the early hours. The winds will start to pick up as well, but it's quite a mild night under all of the cloud and rain. Temperatures holding up in double digits, lows of 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. So a mild, blustery start tomorrow. Those winds picking up, the yellow warning for wind coming into force at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Further scattered showers pushing through during the day tomorrow, the odd brighter break in places, but the winds really the focus tomorrow. Temperatures reaching highs of 14 or 15 degrees Celsius, so very, very mild for this time of year. Across the rest of Ireland, multiple warnings in place due to wind and rain from Storm Bram issued by Met Éireann. Brightening up into the afternoon, but the winds will continue, especially along coastal areas. Temperatures reaching highs of 15 or 16 degrees Celsius. Looking ahead then, Wednesday looks like a drier, brighter day. Plenty of decent spells of sunshine around. We do have some rain on the way through Thursday. Friday looks like a largely settled day, but the breeze never too far away, picking up around the coast. Temperatures above average for this time of year. Bye-bye.
UTV Weather. Sponsored by the Grant Aerona R290 heat pump.
That's the way it is in Northern Ireland this Monday tea time. I'll have the next local bulletin at 10:30. And don't forget, you can always keep up to date on ITVX.
The ITV News continues now with Mary Nightingale, but from Paul and me, and of course everyone on the UTV News team here, have a very good evening.
Good evening.